The Galactic Council's emergency session had been called for good reason. Ambassador Zethkri's tentacles writhed with barely contained panic as she addressed the assembly of species representatives gathered in the crystalline dome of Station Harmony. "The Vorthak has escaped containment on Research Station Gamma 7, she announced, her translator rendering her species' clicking language into the common tongue. "All personnel have been evacuated. The station is lost." A collective shudder ran through the assembled aliens. The Vorthak, a creature so deadly that merely speaking its name was considered an ill omen among spacefaring civilizations. Standing 12 feet tall with chitinous armor that could deflect plasma fire, razor-sharp claws that could slice through hull plating, and a predatory intelligence that made it the apex hunter of its homeworld, the Vorthak had been captured at tremendous cost for xenobiological study. "How many casualties?" asked Diplomat Yearn, his four eyes blinking in sequence. "Surprisingly, none," Zethkri replied, confusion evident in her tone. The research team detected the breach and initiated emergency protocols immediately. However, the creature now has full run of a Class 5 research facility with enough firepower to arm a small fleet. The chamber erupted in worried chittering and growling from various species. The Vorthak loose on a weapons platform was a nightmare scenario. It would likely use the station as a base to raid shipping lanes, growing stronger with each victory, until it became an unstoppable force of destruction. "What of the human?" asked Elder Gix, his reptilian head tilting with curiosity. "Human?" Zethkri checked her datapad. "Ah, yes, there was one human aboard, a maintenance worker named Jake Morrison. His shuttle's transponder went dark shortly after the evacuation began. We assume he was killed when he attempted to reach his craft." The assembly fell silent for a moment in respect for the fallen maintenance worker. Humans were still relatively new to galactic society. Having only achieved faster-than-light travel within the last century, they were known to be stubborn, resourceful, and surprisingly durable for such a young species. But even a human couldn't survive an encounter with a Vorthak. 3 days passed before long-range sensors detected movement from Station Gamma 7. A small maintenance shuttle was approaching the Council fleet. "Impossible," whispered Zethkri as she watched the scanner readouts. "Life signs show. One human male. No other signatures aboard." The shuttle docked with the flagship and Jake Morrison stepped out looking tired but unharmed. He wore his standard orange maintenance coveralls, carried a battered toolbox, and had what appeared to be sauce stains on his shirt. "Mr. Morrison," Zethkri approached cautiously, her tentacles twitching with nervous energy. "How did you survive? Where is the Vorthak?" Jake scratched his head, leaving a streak of grease in his brown hair. "Oh, that big scary thing, yeah, I took care of it." The ambassador's translator seemed to malfunction for a moment. "Took care of it? You mean you hid from it?" "Nah, I dealt with it." Jake gestured vaguely back toward the station. "Thing was pretty aggressive at first, sure enough. Chased me through half the station, roaring and slashing at everything. But I managed to jury-rig one of the maintenance bays into a proper setup." "Setup for what?" Elder Gix had approached, his scaled features showing intense curiosity. Jake grinned. "BBQ pit. You wouldn't believe how good that thing tastes with the right seasoning. Had to use some of the industrial coolant lines to rig up a smoking system, but man, that meat just falls right off the bone." The silence that followed was so complete that the only sound was the gentle hum of the station's life support systems. "You ate it?" Zethkri's voice was barely a whisper. "Course I ate it. What was I supposed to do? Let 12 feet of prime meat go to waste?" Jake reached into his toolbox and pulled out a sealed container. "Saved you folks some samples if you want to try. Though I gotta warn you, I used a lot of that Terran spice blend. Might be too hot for some of your palates." Ambassador Zethkri stared at the container as if it contained antimatter. Around the docking bay, various alien species were backing away slowly, their survival instincts screaming warnings about the small human who had apparently turned the galaxy's most feared predator into a meal. "Mr. Morrison," Elder Gix said carefully, "are you aware that the Vorthak is considered the most dangerous creature in known space? It has never been successfully killed by anything smaller than a full military strike team. Jake shrugged. Well, sure, it was tough. Had to get creative with the killing. Used the station's gravity generator to pin it down, then finished it. Off with a modified plasma cutter. But honestly, the hard part was figuring out how to butcher something that big. Had to use the cargo bay's cranes just to move the pieces around. He paused, then added helpfully. Pro tip: if you're ever planning to cook one yourself, low and slow is the way to go. High heat just makes the chitin all chewy. As Jake wandered off toward the station's commissary, muttering something about needing a proper beer to wash down the aftertaste, the assembled representatives of galactic civilization stood in stunned silence. We should update our files on human dietary preferences, Zethkri finally managed. Elder Gix nodded slowly. And, perhaps, reconsider our threat assessment protocols. In the distance, they could hear Jake humming an old Earth tune as he made his way to the cafeteria, apparently already planning his next meal. The Vorthak, terror of the void, nightmare of spacefaring species across the galaxy, had become nothing more than an unexpectedly satisfying dinner for a maintenance worker from Earth. The galaxy would never look at humans quite the same way again.